Government commences payment of retroactive pension and gratuity ahead of November 30th commitment. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
With the details to the news for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022, I am Kristen Mitchell. The Ministry of Finance has announced the payment of retroactive pension and gratuity ahead of the November 30th, 2022 deadline. As of today, November 15th, the first tranche of payments was made to over 300 retirees in the amount of $44.1 million. The payment of these long overdue benefits symbolizes government's dedication to its transformation agenda that seeks to empower its people, make good on commitments to citizens, and be transparent in the governance of the country. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Honorable Deacon Mitchell says the retroactive payments demonstrates the country's ability to satisfactorily address its own challenges, as difficult as they may be, once clear goals are set and worked towards achieving. Prime Minister Mitchell expressed on behalf of the government profound appreciation to the employees at the Ministry of Finance, including the Accountant General's Department, Ms. Tonya Adams and her team at the Pension Secretariat, and the Audit Department for their stellar work in ensuring that the deadline for payment of the pension and gratuity was met. The Pension Secretariat continues to work assiduously to ensure that all eligible applicants are processed on or before November 30th, 2022. To facilitate the timely payment of benefits, the Secretariat is urging all approved applicants who have not yet done so to please submit life certificates and banking information. In total, the Ministry of Finance anticipates a payout of $75 million to 525 eligible retirees. The government wishes to consult all recipients of the pension and gratuity to ensure that the funds are being used wisely to their benefit. Significant progress was made on the Molyneux land slippage project since the sod turning ceremony 4 weeks ago. On Tuesday, GIS visited the project site and spoke with consultants attached to the project, Beston David Blake. Mr. Blake says the project, despite a few challenges with the weather, has been progressing according to plan.
The project is progressing at a good rate. I would say we expected to have some variability as we started removing the buildings and removing the site, and that has been the situation. Our understanding of the site really realized itself, and we have been coping by going slowly and diligently peering the embankment backwards so that we can create a platform for the pile driving equipment to place the piles. Very high in our priority of the construction of the retaining structure is to install piles at the 2 meters center and to have a concrete beam on top, and that is at the lowest level. So it's very important. It's like the part of the foundation. It also gives us some additional security or factor of safety in the performance of the structure.
The consultant says the project is expected to go into full gear by early next week, as the specialized equipment needed for a specific task are now on the St. George's Port for clearance.
We are going straight ahead of that now. We are preparing. We expect by the end of the week we'll have our pile driving piece of specialized equipment that will drive the piles, will be on site. We have all the piles already available on site here, and that work will take us a week. So we're hoping that by the end of next week, this time, if you return to the site, we will be able to show you the piles in location.
The benching of the slippage will continue throughout this week, and Nawasa, he says, has been informed that the pipes that are presently located within the construction zone will have to be removed. Grenada's Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, Honorable Karine James, made a strong call for climate actions to support concrete development proposals and financing for loss and damage. Minister James was addressing the 27th meeting of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which started on November 6th at Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, and will continue to November 18th, 2022. The minister delivered her maiden speech today, November 15th.
We are also concerned, Mr. President, about the slow progress on financing in general and financing for loss and damage in particular. This is a matter of the highest priority for my country, which has had more than its fair share of climate-related impacts in recent times. So as we gather here for the next 3 days, I call all of our partners to come to the table prepared to work on solutions, to come to the table with concrete proposals for ensuring that we do not lose this window of opportunity.
The minister also expressed concerns about the limited implementation of the Glasgow Climate Pact.
Mr. President, when I arrived here this morning, I was struck by the fact that many agenda items remain unresolved. And I want to emphasize at the outset that there is a dire need for urgency in closing these items, and in fact, urgency in all that we do in addressing climate change. We need urgency because the climate is not waiting for us. We have seen it this year with climate-related disasters in every corner of our beautiful planet. And we need to move expeditiously to close the emissions gap, the ambition gap, and most significantly, the implementation gap. In this regard, we are concerned about the limited progress we have seen in implementing the Glasgow Climate Pact. We are concerned because to date, only 29 countries have submitted their revised NDCs, and even these are not aligned with 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Some of the key topics being discussed at the COP27 are climate finance and accessing climate finance, while building on the success of previous sessions aimed at scaling up ambitions to urgently address the global challenge of climate change. The minister is leading a delegation from Grenada comprising of Mrs. Tara Antoine, Energy Officer, Ms. Ray Thomas, Crown Counsel, Dr. Spencer Thomas and Leon Charles, Climate Negotiators, Ms. Govana Hoshialik, Youth Representative, and Mr. Jerry Ino, Board Member of the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. Minister James will participate in bilateral meetings with various government officials and will return to Grenada on November 19th, 2022. This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Have you noticed an increase or decrease in your electricity bill? You know that changes in the fuel and non-fuel rates affect your bill. You should also be aware that changes in household activities affect your bill. Ask yourself these questions. Have the rates changed? Have there been more people at your home? Have your children been on holiday? Have you used your fan or air conditioning unit more often to beat the heat? Are any of your electrical appliances or equipment faulty? Have you added any new appliances such as transformers, water heaters, or pumps? Make it a habit to understand any changes on your electricity bill. For more factors that affect your bill, visit www.grenlec.com. Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell left the country today to attend the 2022 Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association President's Dinner and Award Ceremony. The Prime Minister will deliver the feature address on the theme Transforming Our Economy Through Trade. Prime Minister Mitchell will return on November 16, 2022. Minister for Economic Development, Planning, Tourism, ICT, Creative Economy, Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives, the Honorable Lennox Andrews, has been appointed acting Prime Minister in the absence of Prime Minister Mitchell. Finally, in the news, the Ministry of Agriculture, through the Food and Agriculture Organization, has recently wrapped up a 4-day technical training which focused heavily on the scaling up of protected cultivation systems to enhance efficient and sustainable value chains for safe and nutritious vegetable production. This training is part of the FAO's Innovative Protective Cultivation Systems in the Caribbean project, where vegetable products will be optimized for profit and business opportunities. Facilitated by international consultant Jervis Rowe, farmers, extension officers, assistants, and input suppliers were exposed to a blended learning approach where in-class and field activities were instrumental in encouraging the strengthening of local capacities in greenhouse and hydroponic vegetable production.
We are also going to be looking at different type of growing systems, for example, hydroponics, which is, of course, using more water-related methods of growing. And naturally, if we're going to be using hydroponics, we want to be recommending that we use closed circulator systems, which means that you can save more on your water. We also will be looking at aquaponics, even as we want to think about the proteins while we're getting our vegetables as well.
The project's national consultant, Ronald O'Neill, explains why vegetable production is the focus at this time under the project.
During the heavy rains we have been experiencing, you see tomatoes are cracked. You go to the supermarket, you hardly see tomatoes because you have so much damage from the field level. You don't get lettuce because there is so much damage. The lettuce are battered by the rain, So if they are protected, if they are grown in a protected environment, and there comes the term protected agriculture. So what we call greenhouse and shade houses, they all come under protected agriculture. So if we have protected agriculture being practiced, where farmers can cultivate under shade houses or under covers with plastic, we can have much better produce being produced, and the quality of the produce also can be enhanced.
Under the project, 3 beneficiaries will receive assistance to enhance their protected cultivation systems. Owner of Garden Fresh Agricultural Produce, Kevon Licorice, explains how the assistance will benefit him.
We build new, fresh, using lumber, and we'll be using greenhouse plastic rather than shade cloth. The shade cloth problem we have with the shade cloth is that when rain falls and we cannot control the amount of water that enters here, or the damage is done to the plant, and we've got a tank with a nutrient solution. An influx of water will fill up that tank. You understand? So we probably will have to add more fertilizer or do whatever. So with the shade plant, with the plastic covering that we're getting, it will be a plus. It will help in alleviating diseases, probably wastage, I should say. So I am grateful.
That story has brought us to the end of the National Report for today, Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Krista Mitchell saying thank you for joining us.